What's up, real deal? We about to get into take care of Maya deliberation, the jury from the jury. So we'll take it from here.
We haven't had any questions, so it's about time for us to adjourn for the day. I've brought another envelope. Nothing in there. So, is there anything we need to do before we bring in the jury?
Judge, do we know whether we're going to have a deposition at 5 o'clock today?
Can we discuss this after I let the jury go home?
Absolutely.
Okay. My thought is to try to get the jury here 8 or 8:15. And any problem with that?
No problem that time. No problem.
If you could ask the jury to seal up the verdict form and then bring them in whenever they're ready.
Everybody nervous. There go Maya, y'all.
Words back there. Let's flip them around. Thank you. Everyone, please be seated. I've received the sealed package. I'm going to go ahead and ask the clerk to put tape over the juror numbers where they sealed it. And then I'm going to ask the clerk to go get the evidence. Members of the jury, I know we're going to be breaking here in a moment. To remind you, you cannot discuss this case on a going forward basis, even when you're going out to your cars and all of that. So you cannot do any more deliberating today. Now let's talk about timing tomorrow. I know I asked you to come in early today. Did that work out okay, or is that too early, too late? Because as soon as you get here in the morning, we're going to go ahead and do it. So I think that was 8:10, I think. So I'll have you back at 8:10, and then you'll get to continue to deliberate at that point. I want to remind you, do not discuss this case amongst yourselves. Do not do any investigation. Receive no information. Do not review any media coverage of this case. And again, tomorrow morning at 8:10.
Well, let me see what. Well, let me see what happened.
Standard, it looked like it said something to the effect.
Hold on, y'all. He's supposed to told him. He's supposed to show them what the jury. Hold on, y'all. He's supposed to show them the paperwork. Let me see right here. Let me go to court TV. He's supposed to show the deliberate they came up with on here. They didn't, but on court TV they did.
Got another note from the jury. It says, y'all, we have not been able to locate any of the calculations about future amounts. Witness Kirby was on Zoom and Whitney mentioned it today. And it was said that we'd have all this at deliberation. Well, if we do have it, we ain't found it in all these files. So, without these witness figures, you'll be lucky if there's enough awarded to pay your gas to drive to court, or we'll be here till next Friday. Here's the verdict form, or the verdict form, the note form if y'all want to come up and examine it.
They didn't put the information, all the information on there. Paul Meyer. She's very talented, yeah, and smart.
What about
Transcription of Ms. Kirby overnight and then read her testimony? Well, I mean, you all have hired a private court recorder, and if you wish to pay for the court recorder to do something, that's between you and the court recorder. That being said, what is actually in evidence on this issue?
testimony, I believe, and we moved, and I think we marked for identification, but I don't know that we moved in or could move in her report. I tried to get her report in. Usually the economist comes in, but I don't think I was allowed for that to go in.
So the report's not in evidence?
I don't think so. We did move it.
Well, it is what it is at this point. So, what are we saying?
Well, I think the thing to do is let them know that we'll try to get her testimony transcribed overnight and then bring it in tomorrow morning. Hopefully our court reporter give us an official transcript to be able to read to them, and that'll give them the numbers. Unless somebody wants to agree to let them see the report, which is marked for ID, I try to get it in.
What is the defense's position on what to do?
There could be a readback, Your Honor, of the testimony. I'm exceedingly, I haven't looked at that report lately. I'm exceedingly reluctant to agree to have a forensically graded report put in evidence. There are several bases upon which we objected to it and upon which the court excluded it. And I'm reluctant to revisit that. I'm frankly kind of surprised with this jury, with the note taking that went on at the tenor of the note, because I would have thought that they jotted most of this down. can I suppose, to say anything other than the jury has heard the evidence and is expected to recall that evidence and trust its collective wisdom, or to read back the testimony.
The jury didn't actually ask for a readback.
Mm-mm.
Mr. Anderson is asking if we should offer a readback as a.
That's what I was suggesting.
So perhaps then, since both sides are okay with me offering a readback, is to tell them all the evidence you have all the exhibits that are in evidence. And if as it relates to witness Kirby, we can ask the court reporter to see if the court reporter is able to type up the testimony. Now, are we going to identify what part of the testimony, or is the entire testimony going to be read? If they ask for it.
I do not believe was longer than 30 minutes max. I believe we were in and out on that. Mr. Whitney has a different memory. I recall that being exceedingly brief testimony, and I don't think there was much loss at all on it. So I think that if there's an agreement to read it in just as to that specific, fine. If not, reading the whole thing is not going to take them. This is not like 2 hours of testimony. This was pretty basic. She was on Zoom. I recorded. We can play it back.
Was it recorded?
I don't know if you can record Zoom on the court proceeding.
We don't do that.
I don't think so.
Judge, if we're going to read it back, I think we read the whole thing back. And my recollection is similar to Mr. Anderson's. I don't recall this being more than 30 to 40 minutes.
Well, my recollection of the case law on readback is as follows: that if the jury's asking for it, then obviously we can do it. Certainly, that's not a problem. Obviously, are we opening the door for them to start asking for readbacks on everything, which of course takes a lot of time, and I can tell them I don't know if we're going to be able to get it for you overnight or not, but I would say it's going to take some indeterminate amount of time to get it back. But unless the jury's request is specific, I don't want to do anything other than read the entirety of the testimony, unless the parties jointly agree to some narrower scope. And maybe if you do get the testimony tonight, you can discuss amongst yourselves what
It's certainly reasonable. And once we get it, I think we would then correspond with the defense and ask them. And if they don't, again, I do not believe that it's a particularly onerous amount of time. So what we need to do is find out about the transcript, which I'm fairly sure we can get done overnight with only a half hour of testimony, and then provide it to both of us, talk, and then read it back to them tomorrow. I don't have any objections, since they have only identified this one section out of everything in the trial that they need. I would think under the case law it would be appropriate to at least suggest that, rather than error in an objective fact that should be before them.
Okay, what y'all think? Well, y'all, the jury they have to come back in. Why don't they just get it jury they want?
I think we'll go with what I had suggested I mean, they said they wanted to go until 6:15, so this is probably a good time to stop anyway. I'll still have them come at 8:15 if they are able to do that. I'll give them the option that that's a possibility. And maybe I should say, if we're able to do it in the morning, can you tell us specifically what part or parts, or should we just don't give them that option?
I think that we leave that for tomorrow. We see how long the entire thing is. I don't know that we're saving that much time. If it's 25 minutes or 10 minutes over there.
Yeah.
But I hope we have anything.
Who's going to read it? Who's going to read it?
Read it.
Maybe we can get some wigs.
I gotta get Miss Lawrence in here. Looks like very autonomous, like dress her up.
We can share the reading, Judge, and we'll work that out.
Perhaps maybe one person from each team. I just don't want to get into a who's reading, and I don't want there to be, if we're going to go down this route, I don't want
Yeah, I thought to have somebody to read
where
it.
your inflection was different or anything like that.
I'll be happy to read it, Judge. I'll be happy to just
They don't supposed to do. They supposed to have somebody to read it, y'all. They're supposed to have someone else to come in and read it. Well, y'all, the jury wants them to. A lot of evidence that they didn't put on there, so the jury want them to do that. So I'll be back tomorrow, same time, when I get off of work to give y'all the information on the deliberation. Okay, because it was some things